What a way to end our Mondays for a while. We're not ending anything. We're definitely looking, Chris and I are looking for ideas for the next series of Mondays, or whatever other day is convenient at this church. Has been a pleasure to be able to present to you Hasidic thinking, mystical approach to some of the Torah portions. We can read Torah portions in the Old Testament week after week and still not discover the depth of what that Torah portion offers in each generation. That's why every Saturday and Monday and Thursday we read the same Torah portions from the 5 books of Moses, and every time we read them, every year, we are different, we are changed, and so the commentary changes too. What we read last year or last week doesn't mean the same connotation or meaning appears this week. So it's pretty strange to be married to this scroll that we take out of the ark and discover every time in the relationship that the relationship changes as a result of the change that takes place through the reading of the words. And that's something very powerful. And that's how we have a whole ritual of taking the Torah scroll out of the ark. Sometimes when we have a good mood and we had some omelets, we dance with the Torah. Sometimes we just walk gently. But the Torah becomes the focal point of the journey of the person who carries it from the ark on the floor of the synagogue. Nowadays, when we have a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, the child carries the scroll and the family follows the child, and it's something very special when people come and approach the Torah. We are told that we should never give our back to the Torah, so we have a tradition of people who will walk, if they need to leave the synagogue at that moment, they will walk backward, not to give the back to the Torah. Similar to how you approach a king, or the respect that you need to give to a king. I think there are enough copies. Good morning. The text is on the table.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, one of the most intriguing Torah portion is in the book of Leviticus. I know the book of Leviticus sounds like a book about illnesses and sickness and psoriasis and leprosy, and which is interesting on its own. But there is an amazing chapter, amazing Torah portion called Kedoshim. This is the Torah portion in front of you. Kadosh in Hebrew is what? Kadosh. Holy. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord our God. It's a focal point during the service in the morning to say those words, especially on the days when you read Torah. Again, Monday, Thursday, and Shabbat, Saturday. And this is a Torah portion that actually is read twice. Try to guess, besides the usual timing when the Torah portion comes to be read, and you know we go through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, but in addition, this Torah portion is read on one other holiday. I'll give you a clue. It's at the end of the holiday, close to the evening, when people are running home to break the fast. What holiday is that? Or the Day of Atonement. Oh, you're so lucky you don't have it. It's a day. It's actually a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day if you come with the right intentions, feeling love and awe, and you go through a day that starts in the evening before. All Jewish holidays start an evening before. So when you open a calendar, I don't know if they understand how to list Jewish holidays, but it's evening and morning one day, so all holidays in Judaism start on the evening before. So that's the evening where you start fasting. The Yom Kippur. Kippur means atonement. And so on the evening of Yom Kippur, you start a fast, and it goes all the way to the sunset of the next day. So that's the Day of Atonement, from the evening before to the evening after. And before you leave the synagogue on the evening, ready to go to your great break the fast meal, which usually ends up that you are in a hospital, because after a whole day of fasting, Jews go to this table and they eat their brain out, and as a result they end up in the hospital the next day. I need to visit all of them because they're there. Excuse me.
Rabbi's brain kosher?
Not mine. By the way, those of you who missed the Thanksgiving service last night, it was an amazing moment, and your clergy, Eric spoke, and the other clergy from the Tri-Faith spoke. It was wonderful. Put it in a calendar next year, on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. It's a beautiful, beautiful service. So the Torah portion, Kedoshim, we call it the Holiness Code. It's read on Yom Kippur afternoon before people go home. And what's in that Torah portion? The essential of being ethical. Not to put a stumbling block before a person. It's about having the right measures for liquids and for solid food. It's about not stealing. It's about love your neighbor as yourself. So before they leave the Day of Atonement from the synagogue, they hear one more time what God requires of us. Simple things. It's not so hard to do them. And so they go home and they at least come with the notion of the essential way to keep myself righteous for the next coming year. Because Yom Kippur is once a year, that's how much Jews can handle fasting. We have some fast days during the year. Some of them are not clear. For example, we have a fast day for the scribe that Jeremiah had, Baruch, who was killed because they didn't like prophets. And so we have the fast of Esther, which comes before the holiday of Esther, holiday of Purim, the book of Esther, and the fact that they all fasted. So we imitate what our people did in the past by adding those fast days. So those fast days are not for losing weight. Those are serious fast days about events that happened in the past. For example, we have the day that we commemorate the destruction of the temple in the year 70 CE. Yeah, we Jews use CE. It's a little bit more palatable for us. You guys keep using whatever you want. So with the wisdom of the rabbis, that day is not only the destruction of the second temple, they put into it, because it's so hard to fast on a regular basis, so many times a year, they put all the rest of the destructions that took place. For example, they claim that Kristallnacht, the day of the breaking of the glass, shattering of the glass in Germany, it was the same day. So you just put together all of the disasters. I mean, can you imagine if we had to fast for everything that happened to us in the past? We'll be so thin, and there will be no need for a psychiatrist. I mean, it's too much. So they put all the terrible things that happened to us, including the beginning of the Inquisition, on the same day, the day of the destruction of the temple. Chances are the day of the Inquisition was not there on that day. How do they figure it out? It went for years. Anyway, so that's how we solve it. But so now, this is the story of the Torah portion we're going to deal this morning. It's called, again, the Holiness Code. Please, when you go home, look at Leviticus chapter 19. It starts in the bottom of chapter 18, and it continues 19. It's a powerful chapter. Okay, so let's go to the second page. Who would like to read the text first? The text is in the middle of the page. Leviticus 19, verse 1 and 2. Please, in English, loud.
Why did this commandment?
No. Read the text first. The text of the Torah.
Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the entire community of the children of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy for Yahweh."
For I. There's an I.
Yahweh, your God in holy.
Yeah, none of us know how to pronounce, and don't get angry at someone that doesn't know how to pronounce it correctly, because one should not ever pronounce those 4 letters. They are part of the tetragram, and this is considered to be holy. So who knows what God's name is? Actually, who cares? God knows what God's name is. We are the one constantly are worried about this. Okay, so now comes the text. So please continue.
Why did this commandment require such an assembly of the community of Israel?
So what is the question here? Why is Moses told to assemble everyone in order for everyone to hear this sentence? Be holy, for I am holy. So now comes the answer of the sages. Continue.
Our sages taught, as it is known, as is well known, that most important bodies of the Torah teaching depend upon it.
No, it's okay. Don't read it. It's a Vaikra Rabbah. This is extra midrashic material on the book of Leviticus. So the book of Leviticus in Hebrew is Vaikra, God called, Vaikra. And so they're telling you that there's more material about this in that midrashic book about Leviticus. So, wow, all the Torah's teaching depend on what? On this assembly. I mean, the core, in order to understand the teaching, you need to understand that God is holy, and basically our job in this world is to try to imitate God in God's holiness. So the recipe for holiness is in the chapter 18 and 19 of Leviticus. You want to know how to be holy? You don't have to read all kind of mysterious books. Just read the chapter. The ingredients are there. Mix it well with your life, and God willing, you can reach the level of holiness, which is what? Very high on the rungs that the Hasidic masters are trying to teach us about. Okay, continue one more paragraph. Oh, you're eating the omelet. Excuse me, the omelet was served from 9 to 10. Just kidding. Go back to the omelet.
I'm on Colorado time.
Oh, God. Go on.
The main purpose in God's creating the world was for the sake of Israel, who rose in the divine mind, in order to bring about great joy and pleasure that God would receive from the souls of the righteous. They have the great power to liken the creature's form.
Create the creature's form
to that of the Creator.
Okay, this is from Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, the midrashic book on Kohelet. Again, remember, there are many books in the Bible that were canonized, but then the rest of the material that the sages thought belonged to the book was added in a midrashic book. So not all the books in the Bible have midrashic commentary, extra material, but many of them have. And so from time to time, it will be interesting to plunge into the reading of the material that was left out, but kept. Why? Why would this be interesting? Wouldn't you like to read material that didn't make it into the Gospels? Why? Curiosity, what else?
It adds context, it gives you other history.
History, points of view. Why was this material rejected and not in? I mean, what is the political movement at that time that prevented this material to belong? So it's great to have those kind of books, because you can really have besides studying the extra material, you can have a good discussion which we really sometimes don't have the evidence why those books were created, but they're there. It's definitely a good material to study, and maybe one day we can open some of the Old Testament books, the midrashic material that didn't make it into the main production. It's interesting. We do it all the time in our own life. What are the books that we kept away from our children? They don't know anything about us.
Our yearbooks, our high school yearbooks.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be interesting one day to sit with your children and tell them the real story about your life instead of the lies and that we tell them all the time? Oh, gee, okay. When I was your age, I walked barefoot to the school. Yeah, really? Come on. I think it's something that all of us create those midrashic books. We keep it inside. Sometimes we share, sometimes we don't share. Depends what age the kids are. Lies I told my children. All of us can write books about this. It sounds like a good book, a good movie too. Okay, so let's continue. Maybe another rhythm because no. Continue eating this. I don't want to disturb your digestive system. Okay. Who would like to pick up the next paragraph? Yes, please.
The nature of this matter lies in the clarity of mind, giving them the ability to perceive the sublime lights that spread forth from the highest rung and penetrate even the lowest. Such very human pleasures as eating, drinking, sleeping, and all the other forms of this worldly delight.
Wow. The simple life. I mean, there is a delight and joy and light coming from the simple activities of our lives, such as what? Drinking, sleeping, and all forms of eating. So that's why we started with omelets today. We wanted to give you the pleasure of eating to understand how this works. But all of them can lead us to climbing higher in the rungs. So even eating, what about the blessing before, the blessing after? All the simple activities of our daily life, all of them have a potential of raising us up. We need to just be conscious that this is happening and pay attention. So even eating needs to be done with joy. Joy. When was the last time you had a dinner for 3 hours? Yeah. Take your time. I mean, enjoy the simple work. For example, we are told in the morning, you know that we Jews have a blessing in the morning when we get up? We thank God for keeping all the openings open and all the closing closed. And it's about going to the washroom. Well, I mean, how many of us are aware of the miracle that we are? So we pray for all the openings to stay open, all the closing to stay closed. What a simple, meaningful prayer that one can recite. We take our life for granted. So you stop, and this allows for the awareness, for the openness to happen. And so those kind of sublime lights, the reason why he invited all the community to hear that they are holy because God is holy, is because all of this allows for the human pleasures, very human pleasures, to bring some light into our lives. Okay, continue please. Good voice.
In their righteousness, acting always out of wisdom and awareness, they are able to conceive the upper through the lower. Not concerned with their own pleasure at all, they raise up those glowing lights to the source and root, the place where all is one.
Okay, so by doing those actions, those activities, and being aware of what I'm doing, such as, for example, simple blessings. And I mentioned last week that we are required for 100 blessings a day. There's 100 reasons a day to say blessings for what we have around us. Shall we start enumerating? I mean, you guys are aware of this. Just this morning, getting the omelet, this is at least 15 blessings. Tell me how. Come on.
Blessings for the hands who made it.
The hands who made it, go on.
The hands who made it.
The what?
The hands who laid it.
Okay.
The delivery of the
For eating, for the vegetables, look, there was a spread of things you put on. I mean,
Conversation while cooking it.
yeah, beautiful. The table, people met people for the first time, exchanged names
Taste buds to be able to taste.
to feel the taste. Beautiful. So there are 15 here. You see, you only have how many left? Anyway, so this is the way we keep awareness. I don't have to go to a monastery to be able to acquire that feeling of awareness. I'm referring to the movie we saw. Yeah, Carlos. Is it possible that you don't have to be a monk to be able to be constantly aware?
This reminds me of what some people call mindfulness.
Yeah.
Or the mindfulness movement, the idea of just living in an attitude of gratitude about all those simple things and being aware of them.
Yeah, but I think we don't have to create a new movement. I think if you're religious, being religious is already, you have to be in that movement. But people likes to create movements. So let's have another movement, have a bunch of books about that movement. And I think, that's why I don't like, in Judaism, we have a word, mensch. I'm sure you heard the word mensch. Mensch is a decent human being. But this is required of every Jew to be a decent human being. So why do you have to create a word that will distinguish someone from someone else? If you're religious, if you come to this church regularly, if you give tzedakah, charity, I mean, you have to be aware. This is something that is required of the religious persona. So that's where the light comes in. So this is, and the purpose of the light of creation is also to allow for that light to go back to its root, to the Creator who gave us the light. And so our actions on earth, those Hasidic masters are suggesting, if they are done in a righteous manner and for the right purpose and the right meaning, that light that we receive can go back to the Creator, to be able to spread more light in this world. That's their teaching. Continue with the end of the paragraph.
These righteous ones have the power and the perception, wherever they look, to see only the divinity that is garbed there. In doing so, they necessarily strip away the corporal and dress it in the form of spirit. This is what it means to liken the creature's form to that of the Creator.
Yeah. So what happens to those righteous individuals that understand the holiness of God? If the commandment is to be holy, for I, your God, is holy, what is happening to those holy people? Actually, all of them are sitting here. Why you? Yeah? No? Well, I think yes. I think we all have the potential of being holy, and I think most of us are. First of all, coming on Monday at 10 o'clock makes you holy immediately. I mean, so, yeah, there's so many things to do this morning. But those people that are, those righteous ones, have the power and the perception to do what when they look at God's creation? What are they seeing that other people don't see? The garbing. Remember what the garbing is. What is the garbing? The shields that are preventing us of seeing things in the authentic, genuine way. Part of it is because we are not in a state of mindfulness, of complete awareness, and so we miss the point. We see things and we call them by names, while really what they are is something else. So people that don't live a life of complete awareness, which is very difficult, very difficult. I'm not kidding. It's hard to be living 24/7 in complete awareness. Why? Why is it hard? It's exhausting. Beautiful. It's exhausting. Because I don't want to see everything. I don't want to penetrate the meaning of everything. I just like how they are garbed. So I continue with my life, paying little attention to important things on my way, not seeing the burning bush in everything. That's basically is the garbing. The garbing is, it's there, it's available, I can't handle it. And that's why it's dressed in a peculiar manner. It is exhausting. What else? What else besides exhausting? I need other verbs here. It's painful. It's painful. A what? There's a reason why it's garbed. Beautiful. Beautiful. Sometimes, and we are not allowed, we dress those things. Garbing from God is acceptable. Garbing on our part is not acceptable. We need to be able to see things the way they are, not the way we pretend they are. Yes?
An example of us garbing.
Yeah, please. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm asking.
Oh, my God. I have so many examples. I'm really worried about starting to do this. But the way we treat people, for example, the way we don't see the face of the other, and we put some kind of a mask on them and on us in order to avoid pain and maybe difficulty. The way we interpret everyday life in America. That's what I like about the president. There's no garbing. What you see is what you get. Yeah, they should be in jail. All those 3 kids should be in jail in Japan or China. Where was it? China. Yeah. I mean, you get. He's genuine all the time. Which is scary, exhausting. Isn't it exhausting? You don't know when he's going to push the button. He keeps us in suspense. Sorry, there was a political remark that I am not allowed to say in this church. Well, he's listening. Eric is listening and pretending that he doesn't listen to what I just said. He's garbing it. Let's please give me other examples of garbing.
The masks that we put on ourselves.
Yeah, the way we cover ourselves, the way we pretend, the masks on us. That's why we have this holiday, Purim. Purim is the celebration of the book of Esther. That's the only holiday that we Jews are allowed to put a mask on and pretend that we are someone else. The rest of the time, we need to be who we are. That's why I love that holiday. I was such a gorgeous woman a few years ago. Oh my God, I didn't do the heels. It was too hard. But all the rest, the wig and everything else was perfect.
Yeah.
And no one tried to abuse me. They all guess who I am. What else? Give me other examples of garbing.
The little lies we tell to make us look better.
The lies, the white lies. Don't you love this invention of white lies? Once upon a time, a lie was a lie. Then it was discomfort that we felt. And so I had this conversation with kids. The telephone is ringing, and now you can see who is calling. Oh my God, you don't have to answer. Well, you're at home, it's available. I understand a company that wants your money for something, but if it's the teacher or the principal of the school and they're calling, What is that? White lie? I So I go every summer to camp in Wisconsin, and sometimes I'm brave enough to take some canoes on the river. Other people are handling everything else. I just sit and enjoy the sunset or the beautiful water. And what do you notice? What do you notice on the banks of the river? So you see some trees, completely their roots exposed, and they are going to fall maybe the next summer. They're not going to be there. I mean, this is what those white lies do to us. Slowly are eroding, or any kind of lies, eroding the core, the root of who we are. And after a while, we tend to fall and diminish ourselves and not be appreciated by anyone if we continue with the world of lies. What else? What else we do? Yes?
Go ahead,
Nancy?
Does this have anything to do with, I think of the judgments we make of other people, the garbs we put on them, except with us?
No, but the garbing is, you put on yourself when you do that. Yeah. I think it'll be nice if we, maybe for 1 hour, stop judging people. How about starting with 1 hour a day? And then moving in. There's a God up there. Let God do the judging. Why do we have to get involved in this? Why can't we accept people? I know it's hard. I know it's a fantasy I'm teaching here. But, yeah.
But maybe it's the garb we put on ourselves that says we're better than they are.
Yeah, that we try to change. We try to appear better. That's why in Judaism there's a legend that there are 36 righteous people in the world, that the whole world is on their shoulder. When we don't know who they are, they don't know who they are, but there are 36, and if one dies, someone else replaces that person. But the world is sustained because of those 36 righteous people. It's a legend. Maybe it's a reality. 36 makes it twice 18. 18 is a chai in Hebrew. Remember, every letter in Hebrew has a numerical value. We are crazy about giving everything numbers. And so chai is life. So the world is sustained by 36 people that are living in complete awareness and mindfulness. Those are the same words. And are able to sustain this crazy world of us. Yeah.
Are those 36 people Jewish? Or?
No, they're not. No. It doesn't say Jewish or not. There are 36 people. Nice, the cantor. Listen to the sound of the cantor. Beautiful. Yes?
There's a new TV comedy series called Kevin Saves the World, and it's based on the 36 people that
Wow.
save the world. They don't know who each other is.
So I'm sure a Jewish writer wrote this. Who else will know the legend? Yeah. What?
My thought was busyness, just being busy all the time.
Or pretending to be busy.
Or pretending.
Yeah, I love those. I love the pretending to be busy. I don't have time for you. Oh, I'll visit you at home when you get out of the hospital. Why? Why not to visit now? All kind of reasons. Okay, so let's go to the next page. It continues. I need a reader.
A person who does this deserves to be called holy. That even such a person, acting with all that wisdom and awareness, raising all to the root, can only conceive up to the level where that soul is attached to the stature, body-like form of Shekhinah.
Shekhinah. What is Shekhinah again? I told you last week. What is Shekhinah? The feminine presence of God in the world. Shekhinah. That's exactly how you say it in Hebrew. Beautiful. So what is it? So there are people who are capable, because of their righteousness and because of the holy dimension in them, and there are holy people among us. Please know that there are holy people among us. They have all kind of ways of journey to that level of definition, but they are among us. There are righteous people among us. Sometimes I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for what we are and who we are. But those people exist. So this kind of a person deserves to be called holy. But even that person has difficulty because their wisdom and awareness is limited. It's raising to the root, to understanding the essence of what God is, but they are living in a level that is of their making. So there are levels maybe above them, but it's okay. Maybe they're trying to get there. So we all have to reach higher than the level we exist at this moment. It's not good enough. That doesn't mean that you need to get crazy about this. You are good enough for now, but there's no reason why you cannot move higher, in a higher rung, to be able to finally get to the end of the game of shoots and letters without falling down all the time. Just sustain yourself in some place on the game board. It's such a disappointment when you have the one that brings you all the way down. Oh my God. But that's exactly what they're talking about. I wonder if the game was created by a Jew. No, I'm sure not. But this is the life that we have. Okay, continue with the next paragraph.
Each soul of Israel has a particular place in that form to which it is attached. That is where it can effect its work of restoration. It is from there that it can return the lights to the place where they are all one. One does more, another less, as long as they turn their hearts to heaven.
Okay, this is from the Babylonian Talmud, page 110, side A. Continue.
It is a matter of how you make your...
Now each in accord.
Oh, I'm sorry. Each in accord with that bit of mind and grasping will still be called holy. It is a matter of how you make your own senses pure and holy, fashioning your own entire form into a dwelling place for God's presence. This is how you come to be called holy.
Wow. Come on, argue with this paragraph. Carlos, you're saying yes. Come on, interpret this.
I was scratching my eye.
You were moving your head. No, so what is the paragraph saying here?
Don't compare yourself to others.
Yeah, be happy where you are, but know that there is something higher. Yeah, nice. What else?
We all have our part to do.
Yeah, I mean, you have to bring God inside of you. I mean, what's the point in coming to services, for example, and praying to a God that is out? This chapter in the book of Leviticus tells you exactly what to do. So if God is saying, I am holy, so you guys can be holy, follow the rules of the game. Make sure that what is written in that chapter becomes part of your life. You want to touch holiness, you want to grasp holiness, the recipe is there. Really, if you have a chance, maybe that was my mistake for not bringing the entire chapter. But go home and now, please, you have time. Next Monday on your own, read chapter 19 and 18 in Leviticus. It's there. Everything is there. It doesn't take too much, really, investigation. So this idea here that you have to make your own senses pure and holy, fashioning your own entire form into the dwelling place of God. God needs to dwell inside of you. Is God inside or not? That's a question you need to ask at the end of every day. At the end of every day, you take 10 seconds, 20 seconds, you can be in bed, turn the damn TV off. You don't have to watch the news all the time. Don't be crazy about it. And ask yourself, was God in me today with my actions, with what I did? Did I allow God to dwell in me today? And maybe the answer is, you know, today I wasn't so good. And maybe tomorrow.
Do we make it a hospitable place for God?
Beautiful. Excellent. Is the place inside of you hospitable enough to have God dwell there? What are the preventing forces or elements that will prevent God of visiting you? Wow. Yeah.
I feel like this paragraph is really saying that you make room for God in you and in your life.
Totally.
Make it meaningful every day and take an inventory almost of that.
Beautiful. Which is extremely hard.
Very hard.
Oh my God, at the end of the day, I just want to go to sleep. I don't want to take inventory of my life.
But that's taking off the guard, isn't it? That's
Absolutely.
acknowledging and becoming aware and grabbing hold of your relationship with God and God in you.
Yeah, and your relationship with the world. I mean, it has to be some relationship to the world. That's why, for example, Judaism, we never had any monasteries in our tradition. Because the place to do this is the marketplace. You go where the people are. You don't exclude yourself from the community. You go deep into the community.
Recently, we had some friends visit us from Albany. And what we did was spend a whole day cleaning up our house and making it hospitable so they would enjoy their visit.
Beautiful.
And that's, I think, what we're called to do in this passage.
Totally, totally.
Clean it up.
Yeah. I mean, Passover. You know, Jews are crazy about Passover. The one that are observing it. You know that the weeks before Passover, we are supposed to clean all our houses from all the leaven that is there. Because on Passover, you're not supposed to have any kind of leaven in your home. But Passover, just cleaning the house is not only the way. You have to clean the leaven in your heart. I mean, you have to do a Passover to your body. You have to get out all the things that are disturbing, that are not comfortable. And then you can go and sit on the table and celebrate Passover. So Passover is all the rituals that we have in all the holidays that we share and not share. What's the purpose of holidays? The purpose of holidays is not just the material things that we need to do in order to usher the holiday in our lives. It's also the spiritual component. Every holiday in Islam, Christianity, Judaism has in it components that allow us to go up in the rungs, only if we want to do it. I mean, Thanksgiving is coming. Think about Thanksgiving. I mean, think about the turkey, but don't start thinking about the turkey that is on your plate. Think about how the turkey got there. That's what Thanksgiving requires. How many hands, how many people were involved in making sure that you have the turkey? Think about work ethics. Think about the marketplace. Think about the butcher. Think about how many hands that turkey had to go through. And give thanks, of course. Why do we use Thanksgiving only as the place to give, so there are nice prayers before the meal starts, and some homes asking people to say what they are thankful for, and Thanksgiving is over, and then comes the next week, and are we stopping doing it? What's wrong in continuing taking the Thanksgiving holiday in essence and move it into our lives? Yes?
When I met Ann's parents the first time it was a Thanksgiving meal. And I was introduced, there were things about that setting that I won't go into, but.
Oh, please go into it. We are so interested in you going into it.
I'll do it after I make my name for it.
Okay.
And that is, they have practice of putting, I think at that time it was 5 candy corns beside your plate. And they did it at the end of the meal, not at the beginning, but at the end of the meal, each of us, we went around one blessing that we wanted to express. We did it. And that went around 5 times around
Wow.
the table.
Beautiful.
Now, the part that was said was that ends.
No, no, no. She doesn't want you to do it. It's fine.
Well, it's just about, I have a very conservative brother and a very liberal sister, and it was during Reaganomics. And my family had a tendency to, when we had dinner, we talked. It was our time to talk and review what we did during the day. And so our dinners lasted an hour to an hour and a half when I was growing up, because we were all talking about what we did. My sister and brother got into a discussion about Reaganomics. She's a teacher, he was big business. It was kind of this thing going back and forth. Well, it ended up with both of them standing up on either side of the table and arguing at Reaganomics. And Tom sat there, his eyes were huge. He goes, "Is this going at every meal?" Pretty much. So that's what he was going to talk about.
We are very happy that both of you got married as a result of this. Yeah, that was a risky kind of relationship to begin with. Okay. By the way, what a beautiful thing. What are the traditions that you added to your Thanksgiving dinner? I mean, who said that we cannot reinvent holidays? I mean, for example, Passover, once upon a time, was reading the Haggadah until my wife started buying, we have boxes of all kind of creatures that represent the 10 plagues. So we put the 10 plagues on the table. For hail, we use golf balls. And for darkness, we bought glasses, dark glasses. I mean, so I think sometimes we are so bored with some of the rituals that we repeat them. Who said that you cannot invent, create a whole different understanding of the holiday for our days?
Rabbi?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that after you said your blessing, you got to eat one of the pieces of corn.
Nice. Is there anything else you want to share about your marriage? Okay. But I think this is how we keep awareness. Are there any other traditions people do here for Thanksgiving? What else is unique that other families maybe don't do? What about Christmas? How is Christmas different? Besides the shopping, that crazy shopping and the Black Friday and the crazy Monday and whatever they're called. I mean, so I think this is also part of being mindful and aware, making sure that you add holy dimensions to whatever holiday you celebrate. How is your celebration holy? How do you make it holy? Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna, one of my children's, my husband died in 2011, and we started something new. It was, we kind of had a year of first after his death. He died at 49, and
Wow.
so we set a table, a place at the table for him, and particularly at holidays. And it's something that we kept alive.
Beautiful.
We lost other people in our family. And it gives us time to tell a story about him and his experience at that holiday or whatever.
Beautiful, beautiful. We do it, we have a chair set aside always for Passover, for Elijah, the prophet, who by the end of the evening, he's completely drunk, visiting everyone's home. But we have also those kind of happy occasions when you put a table and maybe a picture and there's a conversation instead of ignoring the pain, the scar that is still there. Yeah, beautiful.
Rabbi, things I remember about Christmas as a child growing up traditions and Christmas Eve of walking to the church and going to Christmas Eve services and lighting the candles and holding them up and singing Silent Night, and then walking home in snow, singing as a family, singing carols back from the church to go home at night. Those are the things that I remember. I don't remember that Christmas frou-frou stuff.
Well, welcome to capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, and I think we have to teach our kids that. I mean, today we need to start those traditions when our kids are babies because of all of the technological inundation that they get of all the junk out there that
Well, first you have to tell them to leave the phones away.
oh yeah.
Yeah, come to
We
the
don't have phones at our dinner table.
yeah, come to the room without.
Yeah.
That's a garbing too. I mean, that phone is such a garbing because it prevents so many important conversations that don't take place.
And when our kids were young, if the phone rang during dinner, we didn't answer it.
Yeah. I saw your hand.
Oh, I was just going to say, for Thanksgiving the last couple of years, since I was in seminary and then graduated, for Thanksgiving, I've written pieces of different scriptures from all of the different faiths, and everyone shares
Beautiful.
their little reading as we go around, and then they light a candle just before they read their piece.
Beautiful.
Because I want my children to be in the world of interfaith that I am in.
Excellent. Excellent. So think about it. Thanksgiving is coming. So besides the meal, what else is going to happen on the table that will create awareness and a conversation? And again, meals can last longer. We have one of the things about Passover is that you need to finish the reading of the Passover material 1 minute after 12. We have this mystical belief that 12 o'clock at night is where God is closest to earth. So then you try to shoot as much at that moment. So 12:01 is when we can finish the Passover. But it's to keep the kids awake. The entire Passover celebration is a 101 Judaism course for the people who are sitting around the table. That's what it is. It tells the whole story. And then, of course, what people do now, they add the story of their family. So you have some Haggadah, the telling of the story, that are very creative because they didn't stop just reading about the exile from Egypt, the redemption from Egypt. They went all the way to their family moving from Poland to America and what that journey was about. So, I mean, this is the way to constantly add the holiness to the story. That's what we are required. Let's go to the next paragraph. Please. Who is reading now?
From the
Yes.
day God created human beings on earth, there have never been two people who stood on exactly the same rock.
Wow. Is that okay? Is that okay? From the moment God created the world, you cannot find two people that stand on the same rung. What is the meaning of that?
Everyone has their own path to God.
Yeah, absolutely. Which requires us not to judge them. Everyone has their own path, their own journey. Maybe you finish it a little bit early, someone else will finish a little bit late. But this is such a chutzpah to say. This is such goal to say that there were never from the creation of the world two people standing on the same rung. How do they know? But it creates conversation. Go on.
There are multiple and varied levels of holiness. Each person among us, Israelites, has their own point of attachment among those many rungs. That is what we can attain through our deeds and efforts, and not a hair's breadth more.
By the way, you see the word Israelite or Jews or whatever. Yeah, this material is written by us, for us. But is it only for us? Look at the reaction that you have in this room. This is your life. That's why I selected for those 6 Mondays this material, because it's so universal. It's so universal. I want us to be able, I hope it happens, we'll still keep some of the particularity for our religions when we get to the campus. But I think the larger issue is how universal we're going to be in the way we're going to embrace each other. No one is going to ask each of the faith community to forget about their particularity. This will continue, which will be a great lesson for all of us to learn about each other's particularity. But then definitely there will be a request to start thinking in universal terms in order to be able to spread the word, to be able to understand what we are all about. There was a reason why we got at this moment in this town to that realization. Maybe we feel less holy because we're not in relationship with each other community. Maybe this is a way to find another way to climb up. I totally believe in it. Just because I retire doesn't mean I don't believe in it.
I have a question.
Yes.
The last sentence, that is what we can attain through our deeds and efforts and not a hair's breadth more. What about grace? Blessing.
Yeah. This is where, this is what create a little bit of the distinguish between us. Yeah. So, we Jews, we never ask the question, tell me what you believe in. The question in Judaism, what have you done lately? It's about the actions, it's about the deeds. It's not about checking each other faith.
I didn't mean it that way.
No, okay. Try again.
I meant, well, you talk about the light coming to you. I don't know if that could be
Grace.
referred to grace,
Nice.
but I would think so. And I understand the importance of each individual doing the best he can. I understand that sentence.
Okay.
But I just felt that you kind of omitted the light coming.
The automatic
Yeah.
grace. Yeah. So grace needs to be won by us. We need to win it. I mean, it doesn't come, there's a light coming, but if you want to be able to understand the light, you need to be able to climb up. It's not just coming from up, down. You need to also be able to reach as high as you can for that light. So it requires more work on our part.
More than just being aware.
More than just being aware. I mean, in order to be aware, I need to recite those 100 blessings a day. That's how I become aware. So there's a recipe for awareness that can lead to getting higher on the rungs. And the higher you go, the more light you are able to conceive. The more grace you are capable of accepting.
The Danish philosopher Kierkegaard used to say, to be open to the possibility of being spoken to.
Beautiful.
Be open.
Repeat again louder.
To be open to the possibility of being spoken to.
Yeah. So I think that's a little bit of the difference between our two faith understanding. But I have to tell you that we can definitely bridge it. I mean, I think this is a place we can work in order to understand what grace means for each faith community. Because we'll have to do this with the Muslims too. There are works, there are 5 pillars if you want to be a Muslim. And some of the pillars are hard work that they need to do in order to accomplish this. So, yeah, there is a light that is out there, and I think we have different pathways to try to get there. Eric has a wonderful way of explaining this by using mountain, which, mountains are good examples of this, trying to describe the pathways, because we are constantly not seeing anyone else climbing. Only when you get to the top, you're able to see other people doing exactly what you have done while assuming that no one else is climbing. And I think by bringing all of us to a valley, not a mountain, to the location, this will be so clear and so sharp in all of our understanding what we are all about. That's why the importance of the location. The location is important for us to see that basically we are doing exactly the same, and to be able to share the journey with each other. And I know this was an issue for discussion for the people here. I actually envy you. We Jews looked for a place to build a new synagogue because our old place was not good anymore. You had to see the leaks every winter. We had buckets all over the synagogue absorbing the water or the grace from above. So we went there. We went for a completely unholy reason, which is to get a new building. You guys, we are envy and jealous at you because you did not have to do it for just the bricks and mortar. You have done it for the idea. So my people had to get to the idea, and it was hard. Everyone understood why we need to move, but why there? Why with them? We had the same difficulties from a different point of view, but we are okay now. We are okay because the mosque is there. Where are they going to go? By the way, it's similar to what we read last week, where it says that they were under the mountain. From time to time, you need God to raise the mountain over us and tell us, if you don't do this, here will be your burial place. You know what? Okay. Sometimes this is the awe or the fear. You have to do the right things, and sometimes God helps us to present it in the right language. I mean, for me, I learned about the word process when I came to America. No Israeli knows the word process. You want to have a war? 6 days, you finish it, and you move on. You don't get stuck in Iraq for 9 years, or in Vietnam for so many years. Process? You mean I need to have a committee that will discuss this for what? For a year? Who has time for this? So thank God I married an American Jew, and she taught me that maybe there is a need to slow down. And so I try to garb my Israeli character. I was not successful. I was not. I mean, this is how we live. That's what we are. You go to Israel for a visit, you know, when you're born and you grow up with the knowledge that it is possible tomorrow will not be here because of the wars that you need to fight with all your neighbors. It's not the best community to live, by the way, but that's where God put my parents. So you learn you have a different characteristics, and not all of them are pleasant. Israelis are always symbolically parallel to the cactus fruit. What is the cactus fruit? You guys never had the fruit of the cactus? Oh my God, it's delicious. But in order to get to the fruit, what do you have? Thorns. You have to peel the thorns. So that's the Israeli image. You have to peel all of us, but then at the end you'll get something sweet when you discover who we are. So that's how Israelis are parallel. Okay, let's continue. Yahweh spoke, please, the next one. Again, a quotation from the verse.
Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the entire community of the children of Israel,
Okay, so they will try to explain again the verse. Go on.
from the greatest to the least, and say to them, you shall be holy. They are to acquire the name of holiness, as we have said, even though they are unequal in the measure of their service of the Creator."
Yeah, I mean, there was a multitude of people there on the bottom of the mountain. Speak to them, to everyone, from the young to the old, from the one who is unlettered to the one that is extremely smart. All of them have to hear the recipe for holiness. Go on.
Some have mighty strong consciousness, faithful in spirit unto the end, while others are the smallest of the small. How can we seem to put them all on the same rung by calling them all holy?
Wow, wow, what a good question.
Their awareness is not all alike.
So awareness is never alike. Not in this room, not in any room. Everyone has a different level of understanding and perceiving and different rungs. No one in the same. So how can you teach all the people that God is holy on the same level? So now comes the response. Go on.
Scripture responded to that objection by saying, "For I, Yahweh, your God, am holy." The phrase "your God" seems superfluous. The verse would make good sense without it, but it comes to say that I am your God.
I
Pronounce my godliness over each one of you. Indeed, we find that every one of Israel, from the least to the greatest, claims God as his own in prayer, saying, "Yahweh my God." How do we not hesitate to do so? Are we not grasped by fear and trembling in saying, "My God"?
Yeah, think about every time we use in our worship service the phrase "my God." Scary. My God. So in Jewish prayer, most of the prayers are in plural. Our God, because we are a community in search of God. So it's our. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of Sarah, Rebecca, everyone has their own God. And we pray, most of the language in Jewish prayer is plural. Actually, there are few moments the clergy give to the congregation to pray silently. That's when the Jews go crazy. I'm amazed. I love, that's what you need to teach when you get there. You need to teach us to be able to take more than 30 seconds for personal prayer. We don't know how to do it. I'm serious. Because of the we language, it's community, we never were trained to do personal reflection. So you give them 2 minutes, they go crazy. They don't know what to think about. I mean, this is a serious piece in our liturgy, that everything is written in plural. When we have the memorial service for people that died, relatives of people, we are asking them to stand as a community instead of just individual people standing and just saying Kaddish for them. We think about the people that have no one to say Kaddish for. Kaddish is the prayer for the living that is recited by people in memory of their relatives. Kaddish is the prayer of mourners. It has nothing to do with death. It talks about God exaltation. It's a prayer we say at the open grave, and we're not saying a praise, oh, how miserable we are, but it's talking about God, the Almighty God, that is the source of all living. But we do it everyone stands in the congregation, and we say it when we can see that we are doing it as a community. We allow in the beginning for a single person that lost someone to stand up alone, so we, the community, can recognize who is going with death and bereavement, and then we rise to offer them support. So again, all of our prayers are in plural. Yes?
Okay, I had noticed in the very first verse that we read, that main one, it ended with "your God am holy." So the am, plural, your God am, what? I didn't quite understand that. So
It says I,
it's
Yahweh.
Wait, say it again?
It says I, Yahweh, your God am holy.
Yeah, it says I,
Oh,
Yahweh, your God am holy. Yeah,
Oh.
not am. Yeah. Okay, so continue now.
But this is God's way, extending his divinity and holiness across the whole community, making I, Yahweh, your God, am holy, refer to each and every one. The entire community is holy, and Yahweh is in their midst. Truly, the compassionate one desires the heart. One does more, another less, as long as we all bend our necks in the yoke of our Lord's service. Then even we, a little mind, may be called holy.
So what is the reason for the plural? What is the reason? How can everyone receive something? If they have different levels of acceptance and awareness, what is then the answer for the question, how did he spoke to the entire community? That's the difficulty of the verse, that God spoke to the entire community, the same language, saying to them, they're all holy. Wait a minute, the rabbis ask, how can all be in the same level? So what is the answer in this paragraph?
God meets us where we are. God comes to us.
Beautiful, beautiful. There is in all of us the potential of being holy. God, we are required in Judaism to follow the teaching of the Torah. I mean, that's why we don't have saints. In Judaism, the way you are allowed to discover what God is by following God, imitatio Dei. We imitate God's actions. We don't have other people to imitate. I mean, I wish we had Mother Teresa for once in a while. But I think that's what God is claiming, that we are holy to begin with, and then it's up to us to get to where we need to get. And the entire life is climbing up, hopefully climbing up, being able to perceive more and more from the light. Yes?
I think it's only us that compare ourselves to each other. God isn't comparing us to each other.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's the grace.
Only we compare each other, and we judge each other. God takes us wherever we are. God is there for us on whatever level we are. But that doesn't mean that we need to stay in that level. Hopefully we'll become more and more aware. Yes?
So how is that open door not grace?
Say it again.
How is that open door that God takes you where you are not grace? How is that not grace? That is grace.
Well, we just don't have the word grace, but we believe also that there is a light that is being poured on us, and the question is how to perceive more of the light. The light is there, definitely. That's a light that was the light of creation. That light is available. Remember when I told you part of their mystical understanding is that there was God out of the love for us, shrunk himself, and in the space that was empty of God, what happened? We were there, we were created there, but then there was some kind of a cosmic accident that shattered the light that God put in those vessels. And as a result of it, the light of God is spread all over the world, except that it comes with the shards of the vessels that were shattered as a result of not being able to contain the light of God. So the rest of our life, we are trying to do what? We're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, having both shards and sparks of light. And to restore that's why restoration is something that is a very important word in Jewish theology. Restoration of the original cosmic God that was there in the beginning. That's why we begin the Day of Atonement, the evening, with opening the ark. All the Torah scrolls are dressed in white, and at that moment there is a liturgy that says, light is sown for the righteous. That light is the light of creation. That is a different light than the light that we have here. What we have outside at this moment is not the light of the original creation. This is a light that came as a result of losing some of the spectacular light of the creation. Only for the righteous, it's available. Now, wait a minute. I want to see that light. Okay, so Are you coming up or are you going down? What do you want to do? How are you going to get to that light? It's actions and it's deeds and the ability of not judging people and taking people where they are. If God can take the entire community, no matter what level people are, why can't we do it? Why can't we look at people in the entirety of the community, of the congregation, instead of just pointing fingers? That's why the breakfast was so important. I mean, I noticed that some people have not met each other, and they don't know each other's names. What are we doing in a congregation that we don't know each other's names? Something is wrong in the picture. Well, but that's, omelets can do it. So the more food you're offering, the better life will be. Yes, yeah.
When Moses came down from the mountains, I remember his aura, his face glowed because he had been in the presence of God. And I think when we look at the righteous, ones that we put up on a pedestal perhaps, we need to realize that they have a light from God and that we can model ourselves more after those that we would use as our example.
Beautiful. Yeah. Remember when Charlton Heston comes down from the mountain? So here's a problem that created a little bit of anti-Semitic literature. So in Hebrew, the word for light on the face is karan. Keren in Hebrew is a horn. So, no, that's a serious anti-Semitic ploy against Jews because they translated as Moses came with horns instead of the light of righteousness. And this caused in many of the literature that was anti-Semitic or Nazi literature to present Jews with horns like the devil. And this is where, because of the wrong misunderstanding of the Hebrew, it led to literature that was very problematic, that brought some people on the streets in different pogroms in Russia, in Poland. So that's why it's so careful. One needs to be careful in the way we read the Bible. You can manipulate the translation to such a way in order to get the mob on the streets to do something that is not appropriate. So there's no horns. It's Keren, the shining of the light of God. I think it was done very well in the movie. Maybe the only thing that was done well in that movie. Okay, let's continue. Please. Next page, and just the end.
This text offers a wonderful example of Hasidians.
Just a second, let me just get to the next page. Okay, let's start again.
This text offers a wonderful example of I don't know how to say it.
Hasidism.
Hasidism's unique combination of democratizing and elitist spirituality.
You see what they did? So this is a little commentary of the author. By saying what? That this was available to everyone. How is this making Judaism more democratic? Well, it's not only for the rabbis. Everyone can attain it. Continue.
Yes, God created the world for the sake of
The tzaddikim, the righteous people.
righteous people, but even they, just like the rest of us, can each only reach the place of their own soul root. Each person's task, again, we must universalize the text, is to live out the life of holiness from the rung on which we stand. No one can do more than that.
Yeah, can we be now a little bit more comfortable with our life's journey? Just because sometimes we notice those righteous people among us, we're okay, guys. We're okay. We're okay where we are now. I think this brings some kind of tranquility to my soul, because we can be driven crazy about where we are not. Just be joyous and happy where you are, knowing that there are other possibilities and other options, but it's okay. It's okay.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
I had a friend who was 96 years old, and I said to her, she was the most loving, caring Christian person I'd ever met. And I asked her one day, I said, Ethelray, when did you become a mature Christian? When did you find you mature into what a Christian should be? And she said, well, I haven't yet.
Beautiful.
She says, I'm still searching. I'm 96 years old and I'm still searching, and I will not know that until I'm gone. Then I will find out.
Excellent.
You know, we need to realize that we're all on that journey, and that journey never ends.
Well,
That person that we see who we think is finished and at that all-knowing point in their life, they really aren't. They're still searching. It's just a little bit ahead of us.
That's it. That's it. And and maybe we can close the gap, but maybe not. And that's okay. Yeah, totally.
It reminds me of the movie, and I don't remember the title now, in which the main character had to learn to take baby steps.
What about Bob?
What about Bob?
Oh.
What about Bob? Yeah, we all saw that. Yeah, we need to go see it again. Yeah, totally. I forgot already. No, you don't. Okay. Let's go to the next paragraph, and we'll finish with that.
The apex of democratizing is.
No. I'm now in each person fear your mother and father. So in our, oh, it opens the door now for all kind of therapeutic, yeah, okay. By the way, very interesting, Lady Bird, a movie in film stream. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's relationship between a daughter and a mother in a Catholic setting, which can be very interesting for people to watch. So the verse from Leviticus is in the holiness code that you need to fear your mother and father. So now there will be explanation about this. Please continue reading there.
There are people who are good from the side of their souls, wanting to be joined to their root.
So do you understand now when he repeats constantly in this language, join the root? What is that? It can be God or also the root of who they are. And maybe I mentioned to you the legend about why we have this little indentation under the nose. Do you remember?
Yes.
Everyone remembers that when we are born, there is an angel. We are born with all the knowledge that we have, and then an angel touches and creates this indentation, and we forget everything. The rest of our life, we are spending in remembering what we forgot. So going back to the root, or root of who we are. Go on.
But the physical selves derived from their mothers and fathers, who looked only after their own pleasure as the child was conceived. This is the legacy of the snake, drawing them to the corporal realm.
Yeah, so there was a pleasure in conceiving all of us. There was a remark here, I hope so. Yeah. Wait, you have to be careful when you speak. You're sitting so close to me, and I hear everything. Part of there is something of the story of creation and the usage of the serpent in the pleasure that our mothers and fathers received from conceiving us. Okay? Go on. This is why.
This is why the Torah teaches us to fear your mother and father. You must struggle hard so that the part of you that you inherit from them is also drawn into your fear of God. Everything is in the hands of heaven except the fear of heaven. our sages taught. Verachot.
Yeah, this is from the Talmud, Babylonian Talmud, Brachot. Go on. This is
in your power. In doing this, you bring greater delight to the Blessed Holy One, who exalts in the human being who can subjugate evil to good.
Continue, and then we'll talk about it.
Proof of this is found in Abraham, our father, whom God calls Abraham, my lover. This is not said of Isaac or even Jacob, who is thought of elsewhere as the ideal among the patriarchs. This is because Abraham came forth from the deepest shells. He was the son of Terah, and he stands first among
proselytes. Yeah, so he wasn't a Jew until he actually went through conversion, Abraham. Go on.
Despite this background, he drew himself near to God. This brought about the greatest of heavenly delight.
Okay, so what is the issue about the father and the mother here? Just because they brought you doesn't mean that you are stopping to struggle on your own to get to God. Maybe the reason why they brought you to the world was for them to enjoy a pleasure, but your role on earth is a lot deeper than that. You need to, the fear, it says honor or fear your father and mother, fear of the intention that they had in order to conceive you. Maybe when they conceive you, they did not think high, lofty, religious thoughts. Maybe they did it for their own sake, for their pleasure that they can gain from that. You need to figure out for yourself, similar to Abraham, who was not a Jew because he grew up in what family? Of idol worshiping. He needed to have a break completely from a family that built idols and they were selling them. They had a great business. He needed to go through some kind of a conversion to break from the shell that he was born in order to achieve what he achieved. That's why he's the only one called in the book of Isaiah, Abraham, my lover. You see, they're not looking just at the book of Genesis. Because in the book of Genesis, God does not call Abraham my lover. Isaiah is the one that puts those words. But they did not, it doesn't matter. If Abraham is described in the book of Isaiah as God saying my lover, no other patriarch or matriarch got to that level of love and affection. That's why the three faiths are following the Abrahamic tradition. There is some kind of an amazing relationship between God and Abraham. To be able for God and for Abraham to get out of the shell and be able to continue leading his own life and giving us the blessings that came from God. Yes?
Does my lover mean one whom God loves?
Yes.
Or one who loves God?
Both. Yeah. The word in Hebrew is ahuvi, my lover, in Hebrew, and so it can be both. Or it can be, if you want to keep it as a singular for God loving, that's okay too. So there's different ways of interpreting this. And all of them are accepted because everyone is on a different level. I mean, this is the teaching of this Leviticus chapter 18. The chapter is teaching why did God say to Moses to assemble everyone and to tell them that God is holy. So the question, I'm in a way summarizing that. The question is, how can everyone understand what the holiness means? Because there are in so many different levels of being able to be aware, to conceive this great truth. And the conclusion in the commentary of the Hasidic masters is that, yeah, there is definitely an ability to understand that God is holy, but everyone is accepting it in their own level, and that's okay. That's a huge teaching. that allows for God's truth to be taught to everyone, and for everyone to conceive it in whatever level they have. But we all understand it in whatever way we understand it. And we are realizing at the same time that maybe there's a higher level, a higher way of understanding how I can step up and go higher into the root that is inside of us and into the God that is also inside of us. So the root of who I am is part of the discovery. So I always wondered about people that have traveled to every place in the world and did not yet travel to themselves. I mean, what is the desire to see every place in the world and actually to still have places that are shady and dark inside of us? When are we starting the journey inside? How do we? Well, yeah, it's safe to do it with a cruise. We know where the table with the food is, and that's where we go all the time. So, yeah, it is possible. It's scary. Yeah.
How do we interpret or deal with taking the whole imagery of honoring father and mother, the whole image of God the Father, in the cases of abusive parents or children, the many children of rape or the children of slavery, both of them?
So I gave permission to people that were abused not to honor the father and mother. They came to talk to me, and I will never forget the first time I had to do this. It was in Baltimore. I was an assistant rabbi in Baltimore. This woman knocked on my door and asked me the same question. And what happened in her life is that her mother was worried about her promiscuity, and so she tied her tubes when she was young. And this woman was not able to conceive children as a result of that. So what do you say? What do you say to that kind of a woman? I mean, you have to hear the pain. You have to hear the difficulty. You have to explain. Maybe there was something in your life that your mother worried about. But after all of this, after you're done with that introduction, the pain is still there. I cannot have a child. Do I need to continue honoring her, honoring their parents? I mean, so it was a difficult conversation. And I think there's a difference between loving your father and mother and honoring. There's a difference between those two words. And it's interesting that those two words appear in the Bible, in the commandments, the 10 commandments. Honor your father and mother, and loving your father and mother. So can you honor, but maybe you are not required to loving. Maybe there's a challenge there that you need to deal with. And definitely the mother needs to deal with. And that was a huge wall between the mother and the daughter.
How do you separate honor from love?
How do you separate honor from love? Beautiful. In my house, honoring meant that my father always sits at the head of the table. There was a chair. No one was sitting on that chair. It was like an Archie Bunker chair. There was the honoring. I didn't have any problem with loving my father. May his memory be a blessing. I think loving is a higher level of understanding the relationship, of trying to discover deep inside what your father or mother means to you. Honoring by giving them respect. Loving requires a lot more.
I think you go through a period when you're a teenager where you honor your parents, or some, but then as your parents grow older,
You discover how smart they were.
you discover how smart they were, but you, like in the last 5 years, my mom is 90 years old now, and in the last 5 years,
for what she is.
even more for who she is.
Who she
Not
is.
what she is, but who she is.
Yeah.
And for what she brings to the world. I will honor her forever as my mom. And I love her as my mom, but I love her more now for who she is because I discovered that.
You discover what made her who she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I think we go through periods with our parents where we honor them, and then we learn to know them a little bit more, and then we honor, I think we go kind of back and forth with it.
Yeah, but also you discover who you are. I mean, so part of the interesting discovery is while we are going by discovering who my mother is, I'm also in touch with who I am.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, that's an important, it's important move on our part. We need to be able to discover as much as we can about ourselves. I'm not suggesting that we need to wait because then we'll have children by age 90. So, but it is definitely sometimes you see the difficulty in children when their parents are not totally aware or even started the process of discovering who they are. Because it's so connected. We are so connected to each other. So it requires work on both sides at the same time. Do you think your kids are doing a good job discovering who they are? Are you all happy with how your kids turn to be? Whoa. Rabbi, don't throw any bombs into the crowd.
I know a young woman who is gay, a really fine young woman. Her parents have totally rejected her. So she still loves them. She still hurts for that. But if she were, in my mind, honoring them would mean trying to not be gay, do it the way they want her to do it. And that isn't who she is.
Oh my God. How can she be what she's not? Yeah. So the parents have a problem and she has a challenge. And hopefully that relationship will improve through the years. Thank you. I very much appreciate the 6 weeks that you guys gave me. Chris and I will spend some time talking about the next dates.
The imam will teach a class starting Thursday night, January 25th at 7 o'clock p.m. And it will go every Thursday night for 6 weeks. So you can put that on your calendar if you like. It's in the newsletter, so you can check there for the dates for sure. And we may do one Monday morning anyway.
Okay. You're not scaring me.
Before the end of January.
Yeah, we'll finish with the holidays, yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you for the omelets this morning. That was beautiful.
Good job.
Thank you.
Should keep my mouth shut, sorry.
No, it's beautiful.
You write down those 2 movies I took.
Mother.
Yep.
What was the other one?
I'll tell you right now.
We'll do it tonight. My wife is in Chicago, so I have time to watch movies.
Where in Chicago?
She's in Buffalo Grove.
Oh, I was born and raised in Cister.
Oh, wow.
And you go to Wisconsin for your,
For a summer camp.
where?
In